I've said this a bunch over the past few years, but we have gotten spoiled as hockey fans, with first overall picks being so gosh darn good that it kind of taints our expectations as to how good these players are supposed to be. McDavid and Matthews were spectacular. They are spectacular. They were spectacular right out of the gate. And so, when you see first overall picks coming up after McDavid and Matthews, like Nico Hischier or Rasmus Dahlin or Jack Hughes or Lafreniere, we kind of had ourselves a tainted expectation as to how good these other players were supposed to be because of how good the guys before them had been. We made videos talking about Rasmus Dahlin and talking about how he was struggling throughout the first few seasons of his career. He had a good first year in the NHL, but the years after that were not really as consistent and as progressive development-wise as you would have wanted them to be. We made videos about his struggles and about all the problems going on in Buffalo, and they were so bad they got themselves another first overall pick, which ended up being Owen Power, so, it's going to be nice to see Power and Dahlin tearing things up once Power makes the league. And for Jack Hughes, we made a video talking about how he had the first worst overall, not the first worst overall, the worst first, there you go, getting my firsts and my worsts mixed up over there. Jack Hughes had the worst first overall rookie season in 20 years when you take a look at points and points per game, and points per 60 too, to be frank. And we made a video talking about how this was pretty concerning because you go back between all the other first overall picks, McKinnon, even Yakupov, Kane, all these guys had more points in points per game and points per 60. Jack Hughes had the worst amount of numbers, going back to Thornton and LeCavalier in the late 90s. Now, those two players became very good, but it was worth pointing out that between that time span, there was nobody worse than Jack Hughes. And you gotta remember, man, in the video where we talked about that, I said at the beginning, I love Jack Hughes. I think this guy's gonna be a star in the NHL, and I think the best is yet to come. I don't want to make it seem like a guy who's gonna play however many years he's gonna play in the NHL, let's assume 15, is going to be defined by the year he has when he's 18 years old. And I was very clear about that. And you know what? It's so redeeming to go out there and see how these guys are playing now. Because when it comes to Jack Hughes and Rasmus Dahlin, boy oh boy, these guys have been phenomenal this season. And it's not even really close. It's night and day, the difference between how these guys are playing today compared to how they were playing, let's say, a year ago from now. Let's go in chronological order because Dahlin was drafted first here. Rasmus Dahlin in the 2021-2022 season has 37 points in 56 games, which is on pace for 52 over 80. That would be a career high, and he would have himself a career high in goals, too. He's got 8 right now, he's on pace for 11, his career high is 9. Now, I get it, you might look at that and say, okay, well, Dahlin has, a pace that sees him getting 8 more points than his previous career high that he achieved 3 years ago. What's the big deal there? He's improving slowly and steadily. It's like the tortoise and the hare over here, Lego, come on. And if you're going to look at the entire season for Dahlin, it might appear that's the case. But if we go over to his game log and see where the bulk of these points are coming from, you'll see that Rasmus Dahlin, spanning back to the start of January pretty much, had really started to put on the Jets. Take a look at this. Rasmus Dahlin has been playing at a 64-point pace for the last 3 months. He's coming, people. He's coming. He's got 18 points in his last 24 games, and if you remove the 2 previous games where he went pointless, the 6-1 loss to the Panthers and the 3-0 shutout to LA, that point-per-game number becomes even better. Now, speaking about that Florida game, 6-1, of course, Dahlin is not really likely to get many points when the team only scores 1 goal. Panthers coach Andrew Brunette called Rasmus Dahlin one of the most underrated defensemen in the league. And when you watch the tape, that claim pretty much writes itself, because holy, looking at Rasmus Dahlin on the top of the umbrella on the power play, this guy is a changed man. He is so shifty, he's so dynamic, he's so quick at making decisions. Like, there are some plays that the Buffalo Sabres do where they just pass it back and forth between the top of the umbrella and the two guys on the side, and it's all just one-time pass, one-time pass, one-time pass, one-time pass, one-time pass, shot, rebound, scores. And Dahlin will usually get an assist on those because he's the guy that touches the puck like every second pass. And you take a look at how he's going out there and making these plays. He's not afraid to chop the puck between his legs to the guy on the side. He's not afraid to chip it with the backhand. Like, he is so confident out there on the power play with how he moves and how he flows on the ice. It is incredible to watch, and it's giving him the results that he wants. He's going out there actually defending really well, too. If you watch the Buffalo-Toronto game, he shut down Austin Matthews like it was nobody's business, and that's something that not a lot of people can go out there and say they can viably do. So, for Rasmus Dahlin, he's been playing at a 60-point pace the past few months, and he's been showing off to all Buffalo Sabres fans that these first overall picks, hey, they might not start hot out the gate, but give it some time and they usually will round themselves out. Same could be said about Jack Hughes. Going over to the New Jersey Devils right here, Hughes has only played 37 games this season, but he's got 43 points. He's on pace for 72 points on the year, and if you do the math for 82 games, take a look at this. Jack Hughes is on pace for 38 goals, 58 assists, so multiply things together, not multiply, you add them together, excuse me. He's on pace for 96 points over 82 games, 42 primary assists, 53 5v5 points, 268 shots on goal, 22 penalties drawn, and 0 taken. Man, those are superstar numbers already. How many NHL players are on pace for 96 points over 82 games? Jack Hughes is one of the only ones. In fact, if you go over to the NHL points leaders and you sort it by points per game, Jack Hughes has the 22nd highest points per game in the league when you take a look at guys that have over 10 games played. He's right up there with Matthew Tkachuk, Gabriel Landeskog, Patrick Kane, Steven Stamkos, JT Miller, and a few other notable names that you've probably heard of before. It's kind of wild actually to me now that I take a look at the NHL like this, because a 100-point pace is actually a 1.122 points per game. There are 16 gosh darn players that are on pace for 100 points over 82 games this year. The NHL's wild, isn't it? But for Jack Hughes, this guy has completely unlocked a new staple in his game, and it's really shown off the past month and a half, pretty much. Go back to the start of January and you'll take a look at Jack Hughes. He's got himself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31 points. Let's actually count the previous two games there too, because he got 3 points each in those games. So 37 points in his last, what is that, 25 games? Dude, that's elite. That is elite. That is franchise caliber for an NHL player right there. Those are numbers that can define an organization, and for Jack Hughes, his on-ice play has been really faithful to that kind of idea, because you take a look at how this guy handles the puck when he carries it in on the rush. This is what we were talking about when he was drafted in 2019. This is how he would dictate play with the NTDP, with his skating, with his mobility, with his vision, with his passing, and now he's working on his shot. He can shoot it on the rush now like it's nobody's business. Jack Hughes is so dynamic this year. It's wild that he's only like 21 years old. This guy's gonna become even better, and already he's playing at a 96-point pace over 82 games. Sure, it helps him out that he's playing with some very good players like Jesper Bratt, for example, but Hughes in isolation is one of the hottest young forwards in the NHL, and he's a guy that's absolutely exploded offensively this year in ways that we all wanted to see for him. Like, come on. When I made my video a few years ago talking about how he had that worst first overall rookie season in 20 years, I said it, man. I want this guy to do well, and I think he's going to do well. And everybody in the comments was like, yeah, he's probably going to go out there and do well too. Could he have used a year in the NCAA? Probably, but he already played his rookie season, he played his second season, and now he's in his third season, and you take a look at how well he is doing now, it is incredible. Nothing short of incredible. 31 points in 56 games last year, now on pace for 96. Hey. Talk to me in the comments all your thoughts about Jack Hughes and Rasmus Dahlin, how well they've been performing this season, and if you're surprised by the sudden increase of competence for both of these guys. Let me know in the comments all your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.